Let me be straight with you most. Men think getting with a lot of women means they've made it. Like it's some badge of honor. But what they don't understand is that women were never the reward. The real win is understanding them how they think, how they feel, how they respond to energy. That's what most men never figure out. They chase bodies instead of understanding behavior. And that's why they keep getting blindsided, ghosted, or stuck in one-sided dynamics where they're giving everything and getting crumbs. What changed everything for me wasn't a trick, a tactic, or some flashy line. It was the realization that attraction isn't random. It's not a roll of the dice. It's not based on how rich, handsome, or smooth you are. It's based on energy. Feminine energy is like a tuning fork. Picks up frequencies. Your energy either calms her nervous system or overstimulates it. It either invites her to soften or it gives her nothing to respond to. Most guys operate from anxiety. They're trying to impress, over-explain, or get chosen. But that energy repels the feminine. She doesn't fall for words. She falls for feelings. And she doesn't think her way into desire. She feels it deeply and instinctively, and then she justifies it later. That's why the guy who gives her butterflies wins, even if he says very little. And the guy who talks endlessly about how good he is gets left on read, because she's not listening for logic. She's feeling for depth. If you can create emotional impact with your energy, your tone, your calm, she'll remember that. She'll crave that. And that's what I started doing. I stopped chasing attention. I started focusing on presence. And when I did that, the game stopped being a game. It became effortless. The more I paid attention, the more I realized something that most men don't want to hear when a woman is genuinely interested. You don't have to question it. You don't have to decode her texts, overthink her tone, or wonder what she meant by that emoji. When a woman is into you, it's loud. It's effortless. She engages, initiates, responds with enthusiasm, and makes space for you in her life without you having to force it. But when her interest is low, everything becomes confusing. You feel like you're constantly trying to read between the lines, constantly waiting for a sign. And that's where men waste their power trying to convince a woman to feel something. She doesn't. I've been there. I've tried harder when she pulled away, thinking maybe if I said the right thing or proved my worth, she'd change her mind. But real desire doesn't need to be convinced. It either exists or it doesn't. If you're sitting around wondering where you stand, you're probably not standing anywhere at all. Pulling back isn't about playing games. It's about preserving your energy. If she's into you, pulling back won't scare her, it'll attract her more. Because feminine energy responds to masculine clarity. And if your presence makes no emotional impact, your efforts mean nothing. On top of that, her loyalty isn't something you can earn through logic. You can be the most loyal, consistent, giving man in the world, but if she doesn't feel emotionally connected, she'll drift. Not because she's cold, but because women don't attach to duty, they attach to feeling. That's why you see men do everything right and still lose her. It's not what you do, it's how you make her feel. Learn that, and you'll stop begging for loyalty. You'll start commanding it through connection. Asterisk, one of the most powerful truths I ever learned is this: someone is always leading the energy in every interaction. And if it's not you, it's her. A lot of men think leadership is about being loud, dominant, or controlling. It's not. True masculine leadership is silent, calm, and grounded. It's the ability to hold your frame no matter what's going on around you. I didn't always get this. Early on, I thought letting her take the lead was respectful. I thought being easygoing and agreeable would make me more likable. But all it did was make me forgettable. Women don't want to lead the energy, they want to feel safe inside a man's. And that doesn't mean being a tyrant or being rigid. It means being rooted. It's being so connected to who you are that no matter what mood she's in, you don't waver. When I gave up my frame, when I started reacting to her tests, chasing her attention or needing her validation, I noticed the shift immediately. Her attraction faded. Not because I was doing anything terrible, but because I became energetically unstable. The feminine can only trust the masculine when it's steady, when it doesn't fold under emotional pressure. And here's the thing, every woman will test you, not because she's toxic, but because she needs to feel your strength. If you crumble, apologize for existing, or change who you are just to keep her, she'll lose all respect. The man who controls the frame isn't the one who dominates the conversation. He's the one who controls his emotions. He invites her into his world, and he doesn't lose himself in the process. That kind of presence, that kind of calm confidence, that's what women submit to, not out of weakness, but out of deep trust. Because she finally feels safe enough too. Asterisk, there was a time when I thought I had to become someone else to attract women. I studied what they liked, mimicked behaviors I thought were cool, and tried to fit into a version of myself that wasn't real. I thought confidence was about playing a part, keeping up a character, or always saying the right thing. No matter how polished I looked on the surface, something always felt off. And women felt it too. They could sense the performance. What I didn't realize then is that women don't trust the image of perfection. They trust the raw, grounded presence of a man who knows who he is. The game changed the moment I stopped trying to be what I thought they wanted and started owning who I really was, unapologetically. I started speaking with truth, stopped sugarcoating my edges. I began moving with intention instead of trying to impress. And you know what? That's when everything shifted. Because authenticity cuts through every defense. It's rare, and women feel it. You can fake charm, you can memorize lines, but you cannot fake a man who is deeply rooted in himself. She can feel it in your voice, in your energy, in your silence. You walk into a room, and people feel you before you say a word. Your presence does the talking. That's power. It's seduction without effort. And it's built by doing the inner work, by raising your standards, healing your insecurities, and learning to stand alone without shrinking. When you do that, you don't have to speak much. You don't have to convince her of anything. It just feels it. Because a man who is whole on his own radiates something far more attractive than any strategy could ever produce: certainty. And certainty is the most magnetic energy there is. Asterisk, at some point, I realized that the way a woman treats you is just a reflection of how you treat yourself. It sounds simple, but most men overlook it completely. They focus on trying to get respect, validation, or loyalty from a woman, without first earning it from themselves. When I had low standards for my health, my energy, my appearance, and my boundaries, so did the women in my life. They mirrored it. They took as much as I allowed, respected me only to the level I respected myself, and responded to the version of me I was showing up as. But everything changed the moment I raised the bar internally. I started treating my body like it mattered, dressing with purpose, speaking with intention, and protecting my peace. I stopped tolerating energy that didn't align with my values. I stopped chasing women who barely showed interest, and suddenly they began showing up differently. Not because I was faking anything, but because I was finally leading by example. Women don't follow words, they follow energy. If you treat yourself like a man of value, they will treat you that way too. And when you begin to grow, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, you'll notice a shift. The right women rise with you, the wrong ones start to pull away, not because they're bad, but because your evolution threatens the version of you they were comfortable with. Some women only liked the version of you they could control or predict. But when you grow, you become less predictable and more powerful. And that's a filter. Let it work. Because when you finally stop seeking validation and start becoming your best self, the game changes. You don't chase women, you attract them. And more importantly, you attract peace. That's the win.